Hey guys, if you're new around here, my name is Hannah Martin and today's video is very exciting because we are in the Fried of London, the home of where pointe shoes are made. I'm going to find out exactly how these pointe shoes go from literally these satin bits of material to dancing on our pointe shoes at the Birmingham Royal Ballet. So I'm here with Head of Marketing Tommy, and he's going to be guiding us through this process of how these pointe shoes are made. So we're here at the very beginning of the process. Tell me, what is all of this?
So right now we are in the Fried of London Hackney Factory's rough room. This is where all of our components are put together. As Hannah said, over here we have got our uppers. So these are 2 layers of cotton canvas mixed with a layer of satin as well. So you've got your pink, you've got white, brown, bronze, black, lots of colours available. From
this stage here, where do they go next? So you've got the bits of material. What happens exactly next in the process?
So what will happen is our fitting team, normally headed by Sophie Simpson, will travel to all the various ballet companies around. So she'll go to BRB, she'll fit your feet, take all of your measurements, come back to Hackney and speak to our production manager. Now our production manager will put this into his production schedule. He'll find the right makers that are needed, find the right time it's needed by, and what he'll do, he'll give them tickets to his supervisor. His supervisor manages this rough room. So the supervisor comes back here, ensures that all the components are ready to go, all the correct uppers are ready to go, get all the components and put it on the maker's bench ready to start in the morning.
Wow, so the Frieds that you're currently on order or you're wearing, everything starts right here?
Everything. This factory and our Leicestershire Blaby factory, I can't take all the credit from them either, but we have 25 classic makers at the moment.
Wow.
And also we have about 10 to 12 people working in our studio department.
So you have 25 makers, is that what you just said? And is there apprentices involved with that? Was there apprentice makers?
It's not like an apprenticeship scheme per se, but they are taught like apprentices, yes. So we do have 2 makers in London right now training, and we've got a further 2 right now in Leicester training as well.
So how long does it take for these makers to train?
When I first started, it took about 6 to 12 months, but I've noticed now it's about 6 to 9 months. If someone has really got it, we can tell by about 3 to 6 months.
Right, shall we go on to the next part of the process? Let's go.
They're all cut into sizes that we want, so you can see here size 7, size 8, 7.5, 6.5, etc. So these are put together in our Leicester factory in our garment department. So we've got our garment department split into 2. There is about 16 people in there. You've got 8 people working on leotards and garments and about 8 people working on strictly on uppers only.
Just this?
Strictly on uppers, yeah.
Wow, so my one, I think I am a 5.5. Where are we? So one of these is going to be turned into one of my pointe shoes.
These will be yours, yes.
I do all sorts to my pointe shoes as well, so they go through so many processes. Right, let's go on to the next stage.
Let's go.
This is absolutely mad. Can't believe this is where all they're made. It is very noisy in here, so hopefully you can still hear me with my mic. The amount of workers here, it looks like hard labour as well. It doesn't look easy what they're doing. I wonder what all the machines do. We're going to find out. So this is the next part of the process.
Yes.
Tell me, what do we do now?
Right, so over here, to begin putting the components together, we've got all of these lovely knives on the wall up here. So Owen here, what Owen will do is Owen will pull out all of the components we need. So he'll pull out the leather card to begin with, which comes as just a big unprocessed piece of card. He'll put it onto his slab here, and he'll use the press to cut out all the different shapes and sizes he needs of materials.
And so how many of these will he roughly do a day, do you think?
You know what? That's a good question. Owen, how many of these would you roughly cut a day?
Roughly about 500 to 600.
Did you have to build up your strength in your hands to do that? Just like for us with ballet dance, we have to build up the strength in our feet.
Nah, because my technique is right down to a fine art, so I'll make it look easy.
Okay, so we've got the material of the shoes, we've just made the soles. Yeah. What is the next step?
Right, so we've just watched Owen cut out some of the soles that we need. From here, the next part is we get our centerpieces made as well. So we've got a gentleman over here who's putting them through a machine. They're ready to go, they're skived around the side. Now, the next part of customization is the gentleman Kwan over here. Now, what Kwan does all day is he literally is measuring the back of the sole to cut out for each dancer.
For each individual dancer.
So let's say you want, I don't know, a few inches taken off the back and you've got a line of 15 pairs going through. He'll be doing, 30 of those, making sure they're cut off. Then the next ticket comes through. Another dancer wants this. Purely customization. Using just this knife here, he's taken off chunks as small as this. Taking them down to here. Here you go, Sarah Mearns here, fish maker.
fish maker. Look, there you go. So that's where they start. This is before they even go to the makers.
Before they even go to the maker.
Wow.
So that's how her insole is. So literally everything that you get customised taken off the back, Kwan is literally just using his hydraulic press here with this little knife to take it off.
So this is what's cutting all the soles of the shoes into the customizable, what would you call them, soles? Customizable
the
soles.
bespoke option, the bespoke option that the dancer requires. Every dancer requires something different. So these are all just bundled together, ready to go to the maker next door. So everything in here is just sorting the components out. Another process here is skiving the edges of it, just giving it some shape to it. Some dancers require more stability and strength within their shoe, so a centerpiece might be added to the shoe. This side, this is where we stick the centerpiece together, so that will give it more strength.
That's how it's done. Oh my goodness, I've always wondered what these were for. So this is giving the shoe more stability.
Yeah, strength within this part of the shoe.
So that's giving it more stability if you have that extra centerpiece. I never knew that. I used to always pull that bit out.
Yeah, well, every dancer's different. So some professional dancers don't have that in at all. Some dancers do. Every dancer's feet is different. So
true. That is so true. The way these shoes are made, every single shoe is so different that I had one from one maker and one from another, and they feel completely different on my feet.
All the makers are taught the same method, but naturally they all go on and develop their own styles and how they make it. I mean, J Maker, Uni round there, she's been here now just over 2 years, and she's the only maker I've ever seen shape a shoe with 2 hammers at one time, whereas nobody else I've seen does that. So that's a method that she's developed herself to get the shape and the platform of the shoe.
Okay, so this is what it looks like before it's gone into the machine. So it's quite thick. It's really thick, actually.
It is a really thick piece of leather.
It's leather. It's full leather.
Yeah, so actually, this is our outer sole. So our outer sole is done in Leicester. The inner soles are what we just saw, which is done here. So the outer soles, they come like this with no sole channel and no skiving line inside. Once it goes through this machine over here, it comes out like this. So this is what we call the sole channel, and this here is ready for the needle to take to the shoe.
This is the bottom part of the shoe. This is a bit that holds the whole shoe together. Then we add the insole that we just saw made earlier. This is the bottom of the shoe, the construct of the shoe, before we add the kind of structure that helps you stay on point.
To start with, here you've got J Maker, Uni. You've got over there Crown Maker, Ray, right?
Crown Maker, oh my days.
Probably our most
I'm the
popular
biggest
maker.
fan of Crown Maker. Sorry.
Probably one of our most popular.
I love your work.
Come and meet him.
Oh my goodness. You're the Crown Maker? Wow, I'm a huge fan. How long have you been doing this for?
For 30 years now.
33 years, I think.
33 years. Yeah. Wow, and tell me, what is the secret to your shoes? Because they're the best.
Try and be consistent.
Yes, oh my goodness.
That is the hardest part of it. Once you know how to make a shoe, it's being consistent. That's the hardest part of it all. And that's including the materials, got to be consistent. If they're not consistent, then I won't be consistent. So finishing the shoe, got to look nice, got to be square, and what the dancer wants. That's the most important part of it, being flat on the sides and being smooth around and looking square. And the instructions, what she wants. They're the most important things that I look for when it's finishing the shoe.
Well, you're doing an excellent job. I think I wore yours maybe for 6 weeks because I was like, I was jet gluing them every time.
I think right now the waiting list for Crown is early 2027 at the moment.
Oh my gosh, guys, yeah. But there's a reason behind that, because you are so talented at making them.
I know not all dancers are going to like them, but majority of them is what they do like. You get to know what my standards are, what they should be, keep to a nice standard.
Do you get feedback from dancers, or do you just hear through the grapevine? How do you hear?
I've met quite a few dancers, they come in and there's the same as you when they come in, sort of thing.
No news.
No news is good news. Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, and so how many pairs of shoes do you manage to make a day?
Now I do 41 pairs.
41 pairs a day?
I used to make 44 pairs, and then I'll drop down. That's when I was younger in those days, and then now consistency is more important.
Quality over quantity,
Yeah,
always, always. Thank you so much. I don't want to distract you from your work,
okay,
but
that's fine.
I'm just such a huge fan.
It's something that I like doing. It's something that I make for dancers like you. And it's something that I made when you go on stage. I don't think a lot of dancers think about the shoes when they've got a good pair of shoes when they're dancing, because like with dancers, they got to be consistent.
That makes all the difference with the point shoe. If you can rely on the shoe, then you can dance your best. But if your shoe's wobbly, your whole foundation is not stable.
I think more professional dancers, they get to know which is a good shoe and a bad shoe straight away.
Have you ever been to a ballet?
No, I haven't.
You've never been to a ballet?
I just haven't had the time to.
Well, you've been busy here making
Yeah, that's it, especially at weekends and everything else. Like, I watch a lot of it on YouTube and on the telly, and mostly just seeing how the dancers, they seem to just bring them to life, and they're just like that at the moment. As soon as they're dancing on stage, it's like, just come to life. They're made for what they're supposed to do, so to speak.
You're literally changing people's lives, though, and oh man, if you ever want to go to a ballet, please contact me. I will get you tickets 100%.
Sure.
How long does it take for you to make one pair of shoes?
A matter of minutes, but maximum 10 minutes from start to finish.
Do you know how many pairs a ballet dancer goes through sometimes in a week? Do you know?
It could be up to roughly around about 8 pair.
Yeah, sometimes we can go through like a pair a day, but that can be crazy. That's on crazy busy times. Sometimes people can go through one in one rehearsal, but your shoes, I tried to make them last forever because they were like gold dust.
Yeah, my biggest customer was the wholesale before they went anywhere else. If they got out of wholesale, you know you had a chance, and that's basically where it starts.
You are crown maker here. I was curious, how did you come up with your symbol?
Everybody's given their own symbol.
And so you don't get to choose?
No, we don't. It's very, very rarely we ever do get to choose. And at the time, they've just, right, he can be crown maker. To me, I think that's one of the nicest symbols could be out there.
The way that we build up a shoe is we use lasts. So this here is a 5 medium fitting last. What we'll do is we'll get the upper, we'll slide it over it, tack it in the back, tack it here. That then is ready to be pasted. So we're going to watch pasting now. So let's have a look at that. Right here, we're building up the block of the shoe. So we use a paste which contains some special ingredient recipe, sort of like Colonel Sanders' KFC recipe. This is our own special recipe here of the paste. We use the paste mixed with some components such as hessian or burlap. We also use card, which is wet overnight. And we've also got our wingspans, which is cotton or paper as well for that. So a different combination of this with the paste will build up the strengthened block. Sophie comes back from a fitting and she gives all of the information about your feet to our production manager. The production manager puts all of that information into a production ticket. So this ticket here is for one of your friends or colleagues from the Birmingham Royal Ballet. You've got Tessa. So Tessa here is going for 10 pairs of a size 4. That is from our G-Maker. So G-Maker here will literally use the first 4 or 5 lines of information to know how much paste and how much different material he's going to use to make that block.
So they got to know exactly what all of that means in order to put the right amount of paste onto it.
Yeah, literally. And I don't know this as the marketing manager, unfortunately. I've missed that day of production, unfortunately. But they literally have been taught the different amounts of paste with the different amounts of burlap and hessian or paper and card to build up the different strength of block.
So when we want it a stronger shoe, this is actually how they do it. This is how they make it stronger or less or
yeah, they'll
more...
be using more paste or less paste or more burlap or less burlap just to build it as bespoke as possible for the dancer.
So if you need a stronger shoe, you're going to be having more of the paste on there.
Focusing back on Tessa's shoes here, so he'll go to all of the bins and he'll get out the triple X's that he needs. Now down here on the insole, she wants a 2.5 card. Now this isn't the card here, sorry, this is the card that's back there in the rough room that we saw in the beginning, that Owen and the rest of the group were cutting out. So when them components are stuck together, that will create a 2.5 thick card that goes inside the shoe, and then the block, the wing, extra paste on tip. He'll be using the wings that we've got here with extra paste to secure.
It's like reading a different language. So that is one of the wings that goes onto the shoes. And they're all pre-cut for them, or do they have to cut them?
These guys don't cut it. We cut that as well in Leicester and send them down.
That's material and that's
Canvas
paper.
and that's paper.
Oh,
Comes
wow.
down to strength. So,
Wow, so even down to the paper and
Yeah.
the smallest details are
smallest
catered
details,
for.
literally. So if you add paste to this shoe and add paste to this, they'll come out slightly different.
And that makes all the difference. I'm telling you, the smallest nuances with shoes make so much difference.
Once the maker has pasted all of his shoes for the day and they're ready to go, now it's about pleating the shoes, which as you can see over here, if you come around here, you can see Taksim, anchor maker, is pleating the shoes. So he'll be tying them down with fishing wire. This is to bring the material as close as possible to the sole and to the last, ready for stitching. So it has to be brought as close as possible. Otherwise, when it gets channel stitched, it won't take. They do have a little symbol at the bottom that identifies what year they were made in. That's something that we know ourselves. We set the symbol here, but if you was to speak to someone in our shoe production or shoe rooms, they would know what each symbol means.
Wow, it's like a hidden code in these shoes, guys. There's a secret behind every single Pointe shoe you're wearing.
Right now it's fairly quiet, but in a matter of moments it won't be, because these noisy stitching machines that we're about to see will be going mad. So these machines here, if you've ever worn Doc Martens and you've seen the stitching around the outside of the shoes, that's Goodyear stitching, Goodyear welting. These machines here are traditional Goodyear welting machines. They stopped manufacturing these in the early 1970s. So these machines haven't been produced for well over 50 years now. Well over 50 years.
So what happens if they break?
We have to hire experts to come in. They have to literally read through the blueprints of the machine, design custom components that we need to keep it moving, to keep it working.
Wow.
So this machine here, if you look down here, the date this machine was installed was 1964. What has happened here with these noisy machines is all that's changed is the needle has been modified so it's the other way round. So for us, it can take to the channel that we cut out on our soles. That's it.
So this is after the last process we just saw. This is the next step.
After pleating and after tying down the shoe, they're brought here to be stitched together, and that will hold the shoe in place to the sole. Once a shoe has been pleated and tied down, this is how it will look before stitching. So all of this is open. Yeah? That is to be stitched. Steve here, on the 17th of May later this year, has been here for 49 years.
49 years, guys. These are experienced, whoever's making your shoes.
Loads of old photos of him. All these are just over the years, yeah.
So what did you just say to me?
In this whole room of Pointe shoe makers, only one maker has seen a ballet. And that maker is Clef Maker.
Go Clef Maker. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. These people make it possible for us to do our jobs. Yeah. And they've never even seen a ballet before. Someone needs to do something about this. So is this one of the final stages now?
This is one of the final stages. So once it comes back from stitching, which is what you're about to see here, this is straight back from stitching. So he'll take it off of the last, he'll flip it inside out to reveal the pretty satin on the other side. So whether that's pink, bronze, brown, whatever it is. Today we're working with pink, which is very popular as always. So he's flipped it inside out. Now he'll put it back onto the last to give it its shape. You asked about when he'll bang it. This is when he's banging it. So he'll use the polished hammer, not to scratch the satin, but he'll shape the satin and shape the block. He'll take it back off of the last in a moment and put the insoles inside with the paste.
So they have to do this while it's still fairly wet?
Yeah.
How long do you know that period is?
Well, they get cooked in the oven overnight.
I see. So they have a little bit. They have the whole day to get these done.
They have a lot of hours within the day to get that done. Yeah.
But if these were left overnight, that would not be good.
That would ruin it. Yeah, they have to.
So you'd have to start again. They're also under a lot of time pressure here as well. Then I guess.
Yeah, I mean they're under pressure to meet their pairage every day. So everyone has a different pairage. I mean, I think he's about 26. At the front's about 41. He'll be like 30. Everyone's got a different pairage, so they've got to meet that. There you go.
Oh, wow,
shoe from Quang.
Wow.
So ready to go.
That is beautiful. That is so stunning. So when does it? Well, you're going to show me in a minute, aren't you? How will this all get done?
That's the binding room next door.
The binding room.
That's
wow.
where we'll be going next.
That's very long. Much longer than my shoes.
What size?
What is this?
Yeah, very long for a size 5. Yeah. But also important to remember is that this might get cut down. So
that's
about
also true.
in the binding room. So you have the option of a V vamp, a round vamp, lots of different options available.
Wow.
So the customization doesn't stop there.
What's this? This looks very mysterious.
Very mysterious indeed. So this is our Pointe shoe oven. As you know, and as you saw, the shoes are made using a paste, so they're wet. At the end of the day, we need the shoes to be hardened. So we use an oven. So you would have seen Quang, watch your steps just here, you would have seen Quang have one of these racks. So once he's turned the shoe, he's literally putting the last and the shoes all onto the rack, ready to go. At the end of the day, the shoes will be loaded into the oven, and it's a controlled temperature. So it goes up to 80 degrees Celsius, down, up, down, all the way until 7 o'clock in the morning.
The reason there's no shoes in here now is because it's near the beginning of the day, so no one's...
So there's no shoes in here right now. Quang, castle maker, you saw us turning his shoes. In about an hour, his shoes will be in here ready to go. But the oven won't be turned on till about 3:30 p.m.
after they come out of here, then we go into the binding room. Is that correct?
Then we would go back to Raf. Raf would then quality check the shoes again to make sure they're happy, because there's no point binding a shoe if we're not happy with it.
Wow, so they go through another quality control process.
Another process, yeah.
It's so big here.
So once the shoes come out of the oven, Raf here, the supervisor and the trainer of the room, he'll bring them all over to the back here, he'll take the last out of them and he'll quality check them against the tickets to make sure we're happy with them.
So what are they looking for in the quality check? If you were going to throw out a shoe, what do you not want to see in it?
Well, we're going to make sure the block's there, the pleats are nice. You know, I can ask Raf a little bit about this. Raf, could you tell us a bit about what you're looking for in a shoe?
So, the first things I would look at is the shape of the shoe to make sure it's made correctly, i.e. The platform is nice and flat, the pleats all stand straight, and the seams all match up. Then the second, I will check the insoles and the quality of the paste and make sure that it corresponds with the ticket, like the size and the fitting.
Have you had to throw any shoes out today?
Because it's handmade, it does happen on a daily basis, only because they're handmade.
Of course, yeah.
So, I mean, it's not always the maker's fault. There will always be rejects, but what happens, we'll get them made ASAP.
Yeah. So you have to let them know that, oh, this shoe needs to be made again.
Basically, what happens, I'll make a photocopy of the ticket, and then I'll give that to my manager, and my manager would then reprogram the shoe to come out with the tickets again. And yeah.
Wow, so you've got a whole production line, whole process.
It's like a whole system. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for talking to us. Right, we're off to the binding room now.
Yeah, all good though. See you in a bit.
So they've been baked.
They have been baked, they have been cooked, they have been quality checked again. Now, you might have seen behind Raf had a rack. Once he's quality checked the shoes, he'll put all of the shoes back onto the rack, and the shoes are with their tickets. So in here, they're ready to get finished. Some dancers, they like a full insole. They might want it tacked down. This machine here will just tack it using a small foot pedal, tack.
So when you say tack, what does that mean?
There, see that small tack?
That little nail.
That little nail.
That little nail that I have to take out every time.
You can request it to not have that.
I see. Okay,
So
I need to
just
talk
to
about
hold
that.
them together.
I
So
see.
the insole and outer sole are now stuck because of the tack.
I see. Right, I need to talk about that to my manager.
lady.
Yeah. You don't need that.
Well, it's up to you.
Up to you.
It's up to you. But if you don't want it, as you don't,
Yeah.
you can request to have that taken out.
I get sore fingers from trying to pull the tack out
It's
of the
very
shoe.
small, yes. If a shoe is to go on our shelf in our shop, we'll use this here. This will just allow us to quickly mark the vamp size that we need. If the shoe is for someone like yourself, a dancer, or it's for a custom fitting from our shop, we'll measure everything by hand.
Yeah.
This is where your surname will be written onto your shoe, right at this station here.
I remember when I got my first shoe with my name on it, and I got very, very excited.
Yeah.
And all of these are handwritten.
Handwritten, yep.
Wow.
So also what we do here as well is we stamp the style of shoe it is, we stamp the date that it was produced.
Yeah.
All the different stamps go onto the shoe here. So if you've got a classic pro, hard, light, etc. The shoe could be a trial, you could be trialling a shoe from a new maker. We'll stamp it with trial at the bottom, just so everyone's clear on what kind of shoe it is.
I always saw them handwritten, but to actually see it happen in person
I
is,
know, you don't think about that.
it feels very bespoke, feels very personal actually.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And the handwriting will end up all over the world. So
Wow.
Do you have 2.5?
Yeah, 2.5. That's mine.
And then there's this one that's just DB wing.
I think I have 2.5 and DB wing. Wow.
right now, this is what we call cutting. There's a red mark here for the front vamp. You've got the sides here on a red mark too, and then the back as well. Now, our cutters here, over here, will be cutting by hand and measuring, according to the ticket, the correct measurements that we need cut off. So the options for dancers are a round vamp and a V vamp.
I think I have a V vamp. I love the V vamp. Yeah, that sits on my foot way nicer.
Yeah, very, very popular.
And so those little red marks, he drew them on before.
Yeah, he's done them himself. So he's got a small tape measure here, and he'll literally look at the ticket for every line here. Look at the ticket and mark out where it needs to be on every shoe, each
Wow.
individual one. On a normal day-to-day basis, there is 3 guys doing this job, measuring the front, the sides, the back, and cutting the front, the sides, the back.
So we're now in the first binding stage. Wait, is it the first binding stage or what?
First binding. So we have first binding and second binding. First binding is literally this small layer here of binding, and also this stitching layer here, which I'll talk about in a moment. Reason why we split binding into two is the first binding will sit neatly across the front, the second binding will take the drawstring through it as well, but that will all sit above the first binding, so it all looks neatly bound. This stitching line here has a very interesting story about it. So our founders, Mr. and Mrs. Freed, Mrs. Dora Freed, was a hat maker, a milliner. She believed that adding this stitching line would strengthen the vamp of the shoe. Years later, it was proven that it never did. But we've kept it as a signature staple of our shoe.
The traditions in Freed, especially being in this building, I can just feel the tradition in it. It's absolutely beautiful, and I think in ballet it's all about tradition. It's all about, there's lots of things in ballet that sometimes don't really make sense, but it's a sole part of the traditional part. I really feel like that is even in the shoes, like from the very way that they're made, the process, it's like feels so, you're holding on to those grassroots, which I think in today's modern society, we don't get a lot of that anymore.
No, 100%. I mean, there's a lady over there that I'll take you to in a minute. She has been working with us for 56 years, and Mr. and Mrs. Freed, they sold the business in 1968, but during the first years of when the business transitioned to the new owners, Sadie over there managed to work with Mrs. Freed for about 6 months. So that we have people here that were at the beginning of the end of the original Freed era. We're over at second binding with Sadie. Sadie has been here for 56 years, and what Sadie's doing now with second binding is she's also adding the drawstring. So you have the option of cotton or elastic. So that's where that gets done.
I'm an elastic gal. These almost look ready to go, but almost, so very close. What are these little bits here?
So this actually gets tucked in and stitched. So he's actually tucked it in.
Oh, she tucked it in?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Are these ready to go?
These will now go for a clean. They'll be scraped of any excess material and paste, and then they'll be socked and go for a final quality check again.
We're in some of the final stages of the binding now, so let's go figure it out.
This is coming to the end of the shoes now, the production process. We are cutting away any excess material and cleaning any excess paste away. So ready to be socked. So let's have a look at that. So right now we are over at the cleaning table. Any excess paste is being scraped away and any excess cotton or fabric is being cut. This is ready to be socked. As mentioned earlier, due to the nature of the shoe being handcrafted and handmade, we do get some rejects, unfortunately, but we don't let them go to waste. So normally they'll have marked on them what it is, and it could be a combination of things. It could be the block, it could be the pleats, it could be the stitching, the way it's gone, a stitch has come loose. There's multiple things that could have gone wrong with this. So obviously it's our job to make sure we nip it in the bud before it gets out the door. So here you can see, look, this one is a stitching problem. But we are sustainable and we don't waste things. So what will happen is this will be made into a pointe shoe tree or a decoration or something for our shop, a shop display. So once the excess paste and the excess material has been cut away from the shoe, they can be socked. So here you have two options. You have suede or you can have a canvas sock or no socking at all. It's put through these little machines here. A small layer of non-toxic adhesive glue slots right into the shoe. So there's our canvas one, there's our suede one, and some dancers prefer none.
That's me. I don't like them.
There you go.
Well, sometimes they come with them, but then I just rip them out.
Yeah, well, you can actually request them without. So.
Right, I'm learning a lot in this process of exactly how I'm going to...
You've got it in for you when she gets back home. Once the shoe has gone all the way through this room, it's been tacked, it's been bound, it's been marked, it's been cut, it's been socked, cleaned, all of that good stuff. It comes here to be quality checked and also paired. So a dancer could have 10 pairs. Because they're all made by hand, here we'll pair the best pairs together that look alike.
Oh wow, so when they make the shoes, they don't make them as pairs, they just make them as single shoes?
Yeah, they just make them along. So if Quang next door castle maker has got 10 pairs to make, he's making them to the ticket, but then because they're made by hand, the pleats of one shoe might match another shoe more closely, or
so
just as minute as that. Rashmi here is literally looking to see, like, right, okay, that one there, the pleats look the same, that one, pair, done.
People don't make things like this these days at all. Wow. And so these are the ones that they're ready and they're good to go?
They're good to go, yeah.
And so
that one there, she's put aside, I think either that would not be good to go, or she's looking for another side that would pair better with that option there. Look, checking the block, checking the pleats. They're good to go. That's a pair together.
And so from here, they get shipped off to the dancers?
Yeah. From here they get shipped off. Also what she'll do here, they'll use alcohol spirit.
Yes.
They can clean paste off of satin using
Yes.
that. So she has a spray gun, and depending on how much paste is on there, depending on how close she'll need to be to the shoe, she can clean that right off.
And these are good to go. These are going to be on stage in a few weeks, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then them ones weren't good to go.
So literally as small details as this tiny bit of stitching means that they're not fit for purpose, which is absolutely mad, but is what keeps us on our toes and actually keeps us not getting injured as well for long periods of time.
Once the shoes have gone through the room, they've been checked, quality checked, and cleaned up, they can come through to this final bench here. They're put into the bags that are needed, and then they're ready to go out to the dancers and to the customers. Certain ballet companies, Royal Ballet, EMB, Scottish Ballet, BRB, Northern Ballet, don't require any bags, but actually as of the last 2.5 years, our bags are 100% recyclable. They're made using potato plastic. So after 2 months outside, they will biodegrade into nutrients for the plants and soil.
No way. I always wondered also, because sometimes I would get shoes in bags and some not in bags, but
Yeah.
more recently than not, I don't need the bags.
It's a company request.
Yeah, that's better for us actually.
Yeah, of course.
And also I find that it means less waste, but I had no idea that they were biodegradable anyway.
Yeah, no, something new that we've been working on, so there you go.
We are very, very appreciative as dancers for all the work that goes into these shoes. And that is how they go from nothing into the blocks that cause us torture, but also make us ethereal and being able to dance on our toes. This has been such a humbling process to watch the whole way through, to see how every single person brings their expertise and their love to these shoes, just like we bring our expertise and our love to what we dance. It's a full process. It's from the foundation upwards, and as you said, every single part of the process is so important, from the beginning right till the end. And it's crazy that even at the end, you can get the finished product and you're still refining it, you're still making sure it's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfectionism goes with shoes as well.
Yes, of course, definitely. I mean, with us, we just love what we do. We've been doing this now for 95 years, nearly 100 years old. So we're going to keep doing this for many more years and keep to what we know and love.
So that, everybody, is how pointe shoes are made. If you made it to the end of the video, make sure to comment this emoji. And I just want to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to Freed of London for allowing me to come in and film this video. It's been a really humbling process to see the amount of work, effort and love that goes into each and every shoe. So if you're wearing Freed of London pointe shoes, just think about the amount of effort, the amount of processes, and the amount of care and attention to detail that has gone into what you're wearing on your feet. It's very much like us as dancers. We go through so many processes, so much refinement, and I just think it's really beautiful that the shoes themselves go through that process too. I've actually got a half-sewn pair of shoes here. You can see all the little details. I have two makers at the moment. I have Star Maker and P Maker making me shoes, just because I was out of stock for a while, so we had to amp up the production. And I only actually changed to Freeds a couple of years back. If you want to know how I customize them, because you can see here, there's a whole other process that's gone on. They've been jet glued, they've been darned, they've been elasticated, and I've put on the ribbons as well. I've also bent them a little bit. There's a whole other process that happens on the other end of things. If you want to see that, I do have a video on that. You can go watch that after this. I will link it down below. I cannot wait to get dancing on my Freeds once again. Here I've got a completely untouched pair of shoes by the P Maker, which I need to darn and do. That's how they look when they get to us. These are really what makes our job possible. So thank you so much, Freed of London, for everything that you do to keep us on our toes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe for lots of new content coming your way very soon. And remember, dream big and make it happen.